Thrayir, Eyes of a Siren, better known as the Stormcrow mount, can be obtained on the Siren Isles after doing a bit of grinding. At first, it may seem pretty complicated to get this mount, but actually, it's really simple. In preparation, you first need to unlock the Siren Isles, which is really easy. Just talk to Dawn in the Foundation Hall in Dornagal. Her quest will lead you to Skagit and eventually to the Isles. There you need to do a short questline, which will only take you about 5 to 10 minutes to unlock Cersei's Circlet, and afterwards you also want to do the Uncovered Mysteries quest, and this quest gives you the Woundcaster's Eye ability, which you will need later on. Also at the Flotsam Show, which is the little hub you have on the island, you can buy experimental go packs from Sally Boltwench, but only while the storm is not active. You can have up to 10 of these in your bags and they make it much easier to traverse through the island. With the preparation completed, let's get into the guide. In order to get the mount, you need 5 different wound keys, which you can get from different activities on the island during the storm phase. I repeat, only during the storm phase. Don't waste your time trying to get them outside of a storm. To enter the storm, you have to finish the Elite World quest that is always active and then talk to the NPC Susie Boltwench. The Whirling Wound Key drops from Xavier the Forgotten inside of a Forgotten Vault, which is the cave you entered earlier during the introduction questline. This mob can spawn in the room straight ahead, is a rare mob and has a roughly 15-minute respawn timer. Pretty simple. The Cyclonic Wound Key can drop from a rare mob Zakur the Shipbreaker with a chance of roughly 1%. This rare mob spawns in the southwest of the zone with a roughly 15-minute respawn timer, but the item can also be fished in the waters around it. The Turbulent Wound Key can be combined with 3 Turbulent Fragments, which you can find at set locations. The first one can be found here, in the garden next to the house inside of a pile of dirt. The second one can be found here inside the big cave in the hands of a spirit. The fragment is a yellow crystal. And the third one can be found in the southeast inside another cave, lying on the ground. Again, a yellow crystal. Once you have all fragments, you can simply combine them. The Thunderous Wound Key can be created after finding 5 Thunderous Fragments, which can be found inside of Wound Storm Caches, which are the semi-invisible chests you can find with your Woundcaster's Eye ability, which I mentioned earlier. There are only 21 locations where these chests can spawn. Here is a map from Wowhead, and I also link the coordinates and Tomtom commands in the description. The drop rate is at around 40%, so this one should not take too long. And finally, the Torrential Wound Key. This one is definitely the worst of them, because you need 7 torrential fragments, which you can loot from every mob on the island with a really low drop rate. The best spot to farm them is on this coast in the northwest, preferably with a group. Just keep killing all the skeletons you can find and loot them. You will definitely spend the most time on this part of the grind, but it definitely could be worse. To get all 5 wound keys took me roughly 4 hours and half of it was killing skeletons. Once you collected all 5 items, you want to go back to the Forgotten Vault and go to the room to the left. Here you will find the Stormcrow lying on the ground and you need to activate these 5 pillars, for which you need the items. Once you activated them, Thrayir comes back to life and you can get him as your new mount. Congratulations! If I could help you, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, see ya!